My brush is still wet, but what we want to do is, this is a clean brush now, we want to blend it out. I'm going to let that dry a little bit. Okay, so let's take a look at these stems. I want these stems to be rendered so that I can lift the mascoid out and continue painting. So this is our shadow side here. And we need to blend that out. Since it's necessary for me to get the tea washes on all parts of this flower, I find it necessary to paint those things where we've got things masked off. So this stem has been painted so that I can remove the mask on this particular leaf. And then I'm going to paint this leaf so that I can remove the mask that I have on this bud. And once this dries, then I will remove the mascoid and I will do the tea wash on the flower bud. Now, anything else I might have to do on this leaf further going forward, I can always dry brush, since it'll be small areas that will need attention. I'm also going to paint this stem here, even though I don't have any masking on it, but as long as I'm in this area, we'll get it done. So right now I'm just putting a light water wash on here, and then I will use my more concentrated pigments to add value. Unless you have a hard edge, like the edge of this flower, you want to definitely soften any edge that you have that needs blending. Now you notice I turned this around because it's much easier for me to paint, and you can do the same thing, whichever way feels most comfortable to you. So now we have to let this dry, then finish off our tea washes and shadows. This particular mask I have just removed, and you can see how nicely the stem kind of flows into itself from either side of this leaf that's overlapping it. But if I look at this closely, I can see that there are small areas here that did not paint evenly. So what I'm doing now is I'm taking my number 2 miniature and I'm going to go in, making sure my color is not too dark, because what we want to do is match what's there, and you just want to touch those areas that are too light. And you can do this with a little stipple or a little tiny stroke. But you need to use a very fine brush, and in some cases you might even need a magnifying glass to really see the size of these things. Now as soon as this other section dries, we can put a tea wash on that bud. Everything now has a tea wash, and I'm going to go back to adding some shadows, just using a little darker mixture of the yellow, or just adding another layer of the tea wash and building it slowly in order to get more form out of the petals. So the thing to remember here is that you need to create some balance. So don't work one area to finish right away. Work every area and get each area to a level where they all relate to one another. The important thing is that, you know, if you finish one area and it becomes darker than another area and you need the other area to be even darker, you may not have room to make those adjustments. So it's really important to balance what you're working on and working on all parts and bringing each part to equal levels of finish right from the beginning. And having put in some of these greens, I can get a better idea of how much more yellow I have to put into these flowers. But these are almost at a point now where I can start to use dry brush to enhance the colors. That's going to be the next step in this process. As soon as I'm finished with the leaves. You can see on this leaf here, I've added lots of layers of green, always stroking with the vein of the leaf so that it looks like it follows that veination to help define the structure that we have in front of us. I'm going to finish doing the greens, and then I'm going to lift out the mascoid that I have here. I'll paint in my stamen and add the darks on the stamen, and then continue with dry brush until I get it to the point where I think it's finished. What we need to do is create a plate of skins that we can work from and that allow us to pick up small amounts of paint or variations of colors. I'm going to pick up the colors that we started with in our watery mix and put them in different places and allow some areas to be dark and some areas to be a little thinner. And then I'm going to take, and with other colors, I'm going to start to merge some of these so we have some variations on the color mixes that we've created originally. So now I'm going to take Winsor yellow and mix some of that together. So we'll have all these different variations. We're going to put our Winsor violet here next to the green because we're going to need that for some of our shadows. This will let dry and we'll begin to use it a little later on.